Hey there, guys. Dan Dix here from Press for Truth. We're here with the one and only Jeffrey Tucker of Liberty.me. Jeffrey, thanks so much for taking some time to speak with us today.
Well, it's good to be in Vancouver, and it's good to see you.
Well, you're here on our beautiful West Coast, and you're in town for a conference. Tell us, our audience at home, how the conference went yesterday.
Well, it's sponsored by the Institute for Liberal Studies, which is kind of what I think was the IHS of Canada, the Institute for Humane Studies of Canada. So it's a broadly liberal institute in the classical sense, but they invited me, and I thought the conference went very well. You know, I was introduced as an anarchist, which I appreciated in a way, because otherwise, when we finally get to that moment in the talk, people are like overly shocked. So we got that over with to begin with. So that kind of allowed me to frame up my speech a little bit more.
Oh, awesome. Now, something I was curious to get your thoughts on, because I have a feeling it's probably affecting you as something that right now is affecting me and my friends. It feels right now like we're almost under attack online. I know with me and some of my friends, our numbers on YouTube have changed. With my Facebook group, it's just recently gone from 390,000 likes to 375,000. I just lost 15,000 almost overnight. Have you experienced similar things online, and why do you think this might be happening?
Well, a lot of it is the online world is getting so big, and so these platforms are starting to filter their impressions, and this is true on Twitter too. People don't know this, but you're only going to get about 5 to 10% impressions from your total followers. Partly it's driven by a money making issue. You know, they're trying to monetize the platforms a little bit more. And that Facebook issue that you mentioned came about. I'm sure you know this, because they deleted all the accounts from everybody who left Facebook. So everybody lost a lot, you know, in that sort of sweep.
So there was a purging of unused?
Yeah, there's a massive purging. Yeah, anybody who had left Facebook or had a false account or an inactive account was taken away from your likes. So that was the kind of demoralizing thing for people across the board. But, you know, it comes after 12 months of Facebook tightening its algorithms very closely. So it's very difficult to get any impressions at all on Facebook. And they're trying to encourage you to boost, to have paid boosts for your post. So it's all about monetization. I see it more as, it's a pain in the neck, and it's been a problem for many of us who are sort of legacy Facebook users who are used to using that as our main way of getting out there, suddenly discovering that it's not as useful as it used to be. So the world is really changing. I would say the digital world is diversifying ever more, and it gets to be a problem. I mean, it used to be rather centralized with Facebook, you know, 2 or 3 years ago, and now things are just changing just really dramatically. The whole social world, I think there's something like 500 or 600 different platforms out there, and so it's hard to stay ahead. It can be very frustrating. I don't see it as conspiracy, really. I see it as just a kind of a growth and maturation of the social realm.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. It seems a lot of it has to do with monetization, where they'll allow certain pages to get so big and then get so many views, and then kind of clamp in and tighten up on that and say, if you want to get those kind of views that you used to get, you got to pay for it now.
Right, and it's devalued a lot of property too, right? I mean, people with 200,000-300,000 likes in the past had a pretty valuable piece of property, and now that it's just not as valuable as it used to be. Right. So it's changed a lot of things. It's a hard thing for sort of independent news people to keep up with. It's been very frustrating. And some of the new platforms that are out there are just not useful for institutions and purposes like what we want to use them for. I mean, things like Yik Yak, which is the most popular app among under 25-year-olds, you know, are entirely anonymous and you know, completely useless for institutions.
Right.
So I don't know. It's a problem, and it's difficult. It just requires a lot of creativity.
Well, people in the activist community often feel that they're directly under attack, because this is coinciding in the same time with all these bills like Bill C-51 here in Canada, just clamping down on people's internet freedoms. Are you seeing those similar kind of pieces of legislation where you're from?
Oh, sure, absolutely. I mean, just a couple of days ago, you know, antiwar.com got its Google Ads deleted. They've been disabled from using Google Ads because Google objected to some of the content on antiwar.com, like they had pictures of Abu Ghraib prisoners and things like that, and some attacks on U.S. foreign policy that are pretty edgy. And Google AdWords specifically flagged those articles, those URLs, and said you have to take these down for us to re-enable AdWords. So it's very interesting to see how a kind of revolutionary company like Google, 10 years ago was epic, just changing the world, has now been sort of slowly brought into the ruling class. Threatened with destruction. Here's what happens is the central state goes after these institutions, these upstarts and these disruptive institutions like Microsoft or Google or Facebook or Twitter, and they threaten them with things like antitrust actions or various regulatory things, and basically what it's a blackmail, and the message from the state to these institutions is you better become part. You're going to destroy you, or your option is to become part of the ruling class and start to behave and be a compliant player in our game, and then you'll be allowed to survive. Right. So this is what's happening. This is the process of civilizing Google and Microsoft and Twitter and Facebook. And look, this is an old story, right? It goes back 6,000 years, where the ruling class that runs the state has to gradually roll in upstarts into the position of the incumbent power holders and comply with the rules and the regulations so it doesn't disrupt the existing status, wealth, and privileges of the ruling class. So that's what's going on right now. I mean, what's the answer? The answer is we have to innovate faster and use every tool we have.
Well, you mentioned various platforms, and that's something that people are going to have to start looking into, especially if they're going to clamp down on us like this. What other kind of platforms out there do you know of? Do you think maybe people ought to be checking out?
Well, I mean, I have to say something good about Liberty.me. We're completely independent, and for $5 a month, you get a platform to broadcast all of your views. Views has been very helpful for many institutions. AndyWar.com, Jeff Berwick has been using it. Many institutions are now using us, and that's one of the reasons I established the platform as a free space. Mm-hmm. I mean, basically, there is no way in hell we're ever going to become part of the ruling class apparatus. I mean, it ain't going to happen. Our servers are outside the U.S. We can't be pressured.
And it's social network similar in the style that you connect with friends?
Yeah, it's got all the Facebook functionality, but what we're doing is crowdsourcing our SEO on the publishing platform too. So if you're a member, you get a place to publish, and we have a create space for artists and designers and musicians and that sort of thing, and it allows them to get eyeballs on what they do. So you're not sort of isolated and alone out there floating around on Blogger or some random YouTube account. You're actually at a space where people know to go for liberty-minded material. So that was the original vision, and I'm so pleased to see it.
I think that's brilliant. I mean, that is the answer. I think that's a similar thing that we did with the media. It's like, don't hate the media. If you have a problem with it, just become the media, and that's what we decided to try to do. So, yeah, if you have a problem with this institution, don't hate it. Maybe just try to do it better.
Yeah, there's a word that people have been throwing around about the peer-to-peer age, which is, I love the term. It's called equipotency. What it means is equal power. So the capital is being distributed sort of democratically. So anybody can make a movie, watch a movie, provide a service, get a service, rent a room out to somebody else, or rent somebody else's room. I mean, these peer-to-peer technologies that are coming along are allowing direct exchange between people, mostly as a result of the app economy, as the ultimate disruption. See, the thing is, I don't really believe that the ruling class can control the world forever under these conditions.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're starting to see truly free markets emerge. So as long as the internet stays truly free and open, perhaps we can continue to share our information.
Yeah, and there's some fits and starts, right? I mean, I have friends of mine who have innovated great platforms, like Ross Ulbricht built the Silk Road. Mm-hmm. When I was in jail and being threatened with like life in prison, and meanwhile there's another dozen online sort of free markets that allow for exchange of drugs and narcotics and that sort of thing. So it hasn't set us back, but it's been very costly in human terms.
Yeah. Well, I can't remember the actual saying, but the trees of liberty have to be rooted with the blood of patriots or something.
Well, I think it's good for us, too, to all of us who love liberty, to remember that there are people suffering right now on our behalf. My friend Charlie Shrim, who's a great innovator in the Bitcoin space, is on his way to reporting in the next 2 weeks to federal prison, where he'll be there for like as long as 2 years, and he didn't do anything wrong. And in fact, he paved the way for others. So there's a lot of victims along the way. It's good to keep them in mind. One of the things that Lovers of Liberty can do, actually, is look up these people, find out their addresses, send them magazines and books and notes of support. That's just something good that you and I can do for the cause of liberty.
For sure, and we all have to get involved at this point in time. It's crucial, as we can see by what's happening online. Where can people go if they want to get involved, if they want to join the website and be on this platform that you're building?
Well, Liberty.me is a great place. You should go and join. It's a 30-day free trial. We don't accept any advertising. One of the reasons is we don't want to be blackmailed by advertisers, so we want to maintain our independence. I've also accepted a position at a very old and venerable institution called the Foundation for Economic Education, where they've sort of tapped me to build up their digital empire. It's not brilliant right now, but we have a long legacy and a real dedication to human liberty. So that's something I'm going to be doing over the next few years, is building up the fee.org.
Awesome. Very exciting. Liberty.me, guys. Check it out. Jeffrey, thank you once again for talking to us.
Well, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it very much.